when you're working in your poster, there might be a time when you want to maybe put a color behind something, maybe to separate out parts of the page, um, maybe to separate out information to make something clear. So I just want to show you one way, because again, there's always more than one way to do something in Photoshop. One way to do this, and so that is by making a new layer and then using the marquee tool to select the part of the layer that you want to color. So one of the things to keep in mind is that you are always working within a layer. You're never just kind of like working on the image. So you want to be careful about what layer you're in. So for example, if I were to want to separate out maybe the credits down the bottom from the rest of the image, if I select an area that I want to have be that color, and I decide, okay, I want it to be the color that I have the word mark in. So in order to do that, so that I actually tell you what I'm doing, when you're in the part of the toolbar down the bottom, you've got a foreground color and a background color. And you can click this little box here that sets it back to the default, which is black in the foreground and white in the background. There's the little two arrows here that will allow you to switch and toggle between the foreground and the background color. If I click in that foreground color, it's going to pull up my color picker, and it tells you right here that it's the foreground color. I can select anywhere in the image and it will pick up that color. So if I want it to be the color that I have the mark, I'm just going to click on that and click OK. Now I can use my paint bucket tool. Again, that's here, or by default it's hidden behind the gradient tool. And I can drop that in there. Now I want you to look over here at the layer. If I just drop it in there, you see that it's added it to layer 2. So that means that if I were to move layer 2, it also moves that color. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to just hit edit undo. I want to make sure that this is sitting on its own layer so that I can move it independently. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a new layer. And I can either do that by clicking on those 3 lines that are next to the layer here. So that opens up my menu, new layer. Or again, you can also find it up under layer and new layer is the first option. So I'm going to call this yellow bar so that I know exactly what it is. I'm going to click OK. Now it automatically puts it right on top of the layer that I had selected. So I'm going to go back to my paint bucket and I'm going to drop that in. And now I'm just going to be in my marquee tool and select anywhere else so that it deselects. Now I like that kind of going off the bottom, but now you can see that my credits look like they're a little bit closer to the top than they are to the bottom. So I'm going to want to tweak that a little bit. So I want to go and find that line of text, and I've got these other pieces here and I want them all to move together. So just like I did for my images, I'm going to link these layers. I'm going to hold down my shift key and I'm going to click on them. I'm going to click link. So that way when I move one of them, I'm going to move them all. I'm going to go ahead and I want to kind of center this in my box, and you can see that it's kind of giving me some smart guides showing me, okay, that's centered. So that looks a little bit better. And just to remind you that again, you can just click on these layers and pull them up and down within the order here in the layers over on your right hand side. And so I want to just show you what happens if I put it in between. You can see that it blocks off my credit, so the images by those people from Unsplash. So just to make sure that you're aware of the order your layers are in, just so that you don't accidentally obscure something that you need, and that you're clear what everything is and what it does. So that can be one way. And again, the nice thing with the marquee tool, if you want to do that, again, say I want the word mark to sit on its own thing, I can again go ahead up at layer, new layer, I'm gonna go, this is mark background. Say I want that to then maybe be the color of this kind of background area. I can click OK. I'm going to go ahead and grab my paint bucket and drop that there. Again, I can make it part of the piece like this that goes across the whole thing, or you can just have it be a small selection, and I do that thanks to by using my marquee tool here.